That's right, a new Brickafit launch. Oh my goodness. This one's a good one, guys. This one is an amazing one. Not that all of them are great, but this might be my favorite minifigure to date. This is Edward Ned Kelly. Dave, who is Ned Kelly?
Dude, I can't believe you asked that question. Who is Ned Kelly? That's like asking, who is Santa Claus?
For us Americans, we might not know who Ned Kelly is. If you're Australian, you definitely know who this guy is. But who was he?
Ned Kelly is just about the baddest ass that ever lived in the history, I don't know, of the universe.
Okay, maybe that might be a far stretch, but he's a really cool, interesting guy. A lot of cool history that we're going to go over with. But first, we're going to take a look at the minifigure before we look at the juicy history of this guy. This is our first actual 3D prints that are made in the house. So yeah, I got a 3D printer all worked up, and it took months of development. I'm not even joking at that point. But we have our first 3D printed elements that are in-house made. We have a really cool cape, trench coat thing on this guy. We got a custom face print, and then there's also other custom prints as well. He comes with 2 pistols there, but this figure is just amazingly detailed. It also comes in your packaging that we got here with a little historical pamphlet on the inside. And but no, the figure itself, like, what caught my eye, and this was on a live stream. You can actually go back to one of the Thursday night live streams where I think Matthew showed off his prototype Ned Kelly, and he had made a 3D print, a 3D helmet, which was not as good as the final product. This one was a little sus, but he showed up and was like, "Hey, I did Ned Kelly," and I'm like, "Who is Ned Kelly? I've never heard of this guy."
Oh, because you could be hung for that, dude.
I was one of the
having that knowledge.
I was one of the delinquents that didn't know who Ned Kelly was, but after I learned about this guy, I was like, we got to make this into a minifigure. And he kind of looks like a Darth Vader. I mean, like, it's really cool how menacing he looks with that helmet and so otherworldly. But this is true history, folks. But anyway, so we have those 2 front armor pieces that are 3D printed. So anyway, to talk more about those 3D prints, we're going to have Matthew talk a little bit about how he designed it and what his inspiration for Ned Kelly was in the first place. So Matthew, take it away.
I think someone might be getting a little desperate, because I'm here to talk about a minifigure today. Who would have guessed? No, I'm not here for a kit. I'm here to talk about Brickafit's newest minifigure, Ned Kelly. This is obviously a prototype version. Now, my job here was a little strange. I'd never done this before. I was given the opportunity to design the 3D printed helmet and chest plate. Prior to this experience, this is my 3D printing skills. That was it. So this was something new, especially because I didn't have a printer that was the same. So it was a trial on my end, and then I'd send it to Joshua. He'd go through it, print it, put it on, and then tell me, hey, if it was too tight or too loose or what the issue was. I'd go back through, redo it, send it. I think overall we ended up with over 20 different variants, just changing it 1 millimeter at a time. But at the end, I think it worked pretty well. I'm pretty happy with the final product. As I say, did a great job on printing and everything, especially the legs. The coat really looks good. Looks a heck of a lot better than I feel like I don't even have to really bring that up. But new figure. I designed the torso and helmet. I went a lot from the museum pictures, which they're not a ton, but there are a few photos just from sketches and stuff. But that's why there are the bullet holes there or the dent in the helmet. But it was a new experience for me. I'm pretty happy with it. I hope you guys like it too. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say.
Thanks again, Matthew, for making that awesome design. But anyway, so we had to get those done, and those started about, I think, in November. Now, there is printing under the armor piece here, and so there's a nice little button-up shirt that they got there, some nice creases and stuff there, and then moving on down, you have these beautifully done boots, a belt as well, and pants, and then on the side, ooh, there's side printing on this guy. He has a really nice holster design on both sides, because he was a dual wielder. He liked both pistols to have. But anyway, so that's the figure. Just an amazing figure. Also, you get a custom face print. Let me know how we did on this. I think this is much improved from the Indian that we did a couple years back at this point now, but I think this looks really nice.
People are still in therapy after looking at that Indian's face.
Yes, it's truly...
I close my eyes at night and I see that face, and no wonder
I honestly don't know what we were thinking. The fact that the original design was even creepier than the design we came out with is actually concerning, but anyway, hopefully that will never see the light of day, the original version of that. Who is Ned Kelly? Why is he so interesting, Dave?
Ned Kelly was the ultimate badass. He not only acted in a badass manner, but he looked badass. He had this massive beard. He was rough. He was tough. And he actually is the national folk hero of Australia. More books have been written about Ned Kelly than any other Australian. His face, with his full plate of armor and everything, was on a postage stamp back in 1980. There have been numerous books, movies, plays, artwork about him. What do the Rolling Stones and Ned Kelly have in common, you might ask? Well, Mick Jagger, the head guy of the Rolling Stones, actually played Ned Kelly in a 1970 movie. Heath Ledger, whom everybody loves, played Ned Kelly in a 2003 movie. The first dramatic, full-length motion picture ever made was The Story of the Kelly Gang, which came out in 1906.
Wow.
This guy is amazing. He was a bushranger, an outlaw that wreaked havoc across the outback during the 1870s in Australia, of course, because that's where the outback is, duh. And he was kind of a troubled youth. He got into horse thieving and served a couple of stints in the local calaboose as a teenager. The trouble began in 1878 when a local policeman came to arrest Ned's brother for horse thieving. And the story is a little muddled, but apparently, according to the Kellys at one point, the policeman came on to Ned Kelly's sister, and Ned Kelly's mom bopped the policeman over the head with a frying pan, and things kind of got out of hand at that point. Ultimately, there were shots fired. A warrant went out for the arrest of Ned Kelly and his brother. They fled to the bush. Ned Kelly's mom was arrested and imprisoned, and this really infuriated Ned, who went on a rampage for the next couple of years. He robbed banks. He tried to blow up a train. He took hostages. He basically went wild, and nobody could catch him. He was just beyond belief, larger than life. And it all came to an end in 1880 when he took a bunch of hostages at a local pub, and the policeman came, and they found out he was there, and the policeman came. He tried to blow up the train with all the cops on board unsuccessfully. And at the end, and you can't make this kind of stuff up, at the end, he and his gang come out, guns a-blazing. The cops have the entire pub and the area surrounded. They come out guns a-blazing, wearing this suit of armor that they had fashioned out of farm implements. And bullets are bouncing off of them. Unfortunately, they weren't totally covered, so the gang ultimately gets wiped out after hours of gun battles. Ned survives. He's been wounded 12 times. He finally falls down because he got shot in the knee with a shotgun blast, and so he's arrested. Now, Ned, I'm going on way too long here, but I'm almost done because this is just really exciting stuff. Ned was a folk hero. He was kind of a Robin Hood kind of guy. Now, when he robbed banks, he kept all the money for himself, but he would go into the vaults and burn all the mortgages that the banks held. And this took place during a time when the police arguably were a little over the top in kind of being brutal, and it was a rough time. So the local people loved Ned, and they supported him and his gang. And when Ned was arrested and of course tried and found guilty of murder, people took to the streets in protest in 1880. 32,000 of them signed a petition in a matter of just a day or two, begging the government for clemency, but didn't happen. Ned gets hung on November 11th, 1880. His last words were, "Ah, well, I suppose it has come to this," which is, what a way to go. It's like, hey, I'm done here. So that's Ned Kelly. Yeah, that's who we just need to do the whole Kelly family, because they were rootin' tootin' sons of guns.
Sons of guns.
Oh yeah, sons of guns. And are we gonna be able to call ourselves Neds? I understand that in Australia the really manly men, 100% Australians like to refer themselves as Neds.
All right.
So that would be the high compliment if somebody ever called me a Ned.
Let me know if you're a Ned in the comments section down below. But yeah, head over to Brickafit.com, pick this figure up. We also got a lot of other figures, and so I'd really appreciate if you went over and supported us there. Get yourself a really awesome, nice minifigure, and I guess that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.